Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to Friday night. It would help if I actually had the right guest on my screen. Apologies, Amanda. There you are. There you are. You're on my screen now. And Ian just ran away. There he is. There he is. Hey, friends, happy Friday night. Tonight, we're not going to be doing any sewing. Instead, I decided we're going to have a little bit of a sit and chat with a couple of special guests. So, we're just going to be talking to you. If you have questions, make sure to tag us in the chat. We'll put them up, we'll answer your questions. But most importantly, I wanted to introduce you to Amanda, who you may not know is the voice and face behind the podcast, Not Your Granny's Quilt Show. Ian,
I
you
don't know
were.
where she is on the screen, so I'm like
Okay.
trying to point to her, but I don't know.
Well, oh, wait. Point again, and I'll tell you when. No, wrong way. Other way. Literally opposite. Yep. And he is. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, Amanda. Like there you go. You point towards the. I don't know. Away from your machine.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. And then I'm on top doing this. So anyway, I thought it would be a lot of fun to expose her to all of you so that you know that she has a podcast. She also does all of her podcasts right here on YouTube. So if you're not familiar with the podcast platform and that's not something you've really gotten into, guess what? You can just watch those videos that she has with other guests right here on YouTube. She's got a channel that she's trying to push out. It's the same content, just video format. And if you want to check that channel out, you can do exclamation Amanda in the chat, the live chat down below, and it'll give you a link to take you right over to her channel. So without my yapping anymore, hi Amanda, hi Ian.
Hello.
Hi.
I literally have no idea how to kick this off, so I just feel like I'm kind of lost for words for right now.
Well, in the chat, Mike Seppa is kicking things off by saying, "Hi, Mona, have a pickle." You're welcome,
What's that?
apparently.
I don't get the joke, but okay.
I don't either. I'm very confused, to be honest, but
Yeah, well.
Interesting.
that stood out to me as I'm looking at the chat. Have a pickle.
Wow.
So everyone, have a pickle.
Enjoy the pickle. Although, so let's just talk about let's start right off with Amanda because everybody knows you, Ian. Everybody
Yep.
here knows you. We do way too many silly, stupid things. So let's just pivot the conversation and start off with Amanda. Amanda, why don't you talk to us a little bit about Not Your Granny's Quilt Show, which is the name of your podcast. Tell us about how you got started and what people might be able to find if they tuned in and listened to a few of the episodes.
Okay. Well, hi, I'm Amanda. And I am the host of Not Your Granny's Quilt Show, as Becca was saying. And when I was starting my quilting business with my mom, actually July 1st will be our 6th anniversary since we started Sweet Pea, which is super cool. But my husband was like, "You really need to get in the podcast game." And I was like, no. And he was like, I don't know, like I understood why he was saying what he was saying and I got it, but I was like, I don't know how to do that. I don't know what to do. And my mom was definitely not going to get on the camera with me. So I just waited a little bit and then I convinced my friend Miranda to actually start the podcast with me. So she helped come up with the name. She made the logo and so graciously let me just take it and run with it when she decided to be done with it, which is totally great. Like I completely understand her. She's like has a normal job. So yeah, but basically we were just like she and I got dragged into quilting by our other two best friends who had started quilting a few years before we did. And we both fell in love and just got really excited about it. And of course, I went and started a business and they were all like, that's cute. We're going to just keep it as a hobby. And anyway, so yeah, it was just like navigating the quilting world as a millennial woman and kind of fighting off the crusty demeanor of some people. Not necessarily, I think people get thrown off by the word granny, but I think it's just more of a nod to the idea that like we're trying to do things differently, generationally. Like And non-generationally too. I mean, there's plenty of people in the granny demographic that I love and respect and follow and take their advice because they don't have that mindset that keeps them back from accepting everyone and opening their arms to everybody to welcome them into the quilting community. And so I just wanted to be a voice for that openness and that welcoming, like, you like to sew, cool. I don't care what your background is. I don't care where you're from. I don't care what you look like. Nothing else matters except that you love to sew. And so, yeah, then the podcast was born. And I also cuss a lot. So I'll be
Well,
nice today.
I mean, I would, I think the threshold of a lot is left up to some people. I feel like in our episode, I only heard you say the S word maybe once or twice, but I also saw a comment about how it was too much. So I was like, okay, so like that there's no tolerance for some people. So just kind of maybe keep that in mind. She fully owns it and she's not going to change.
And I don't pretend to be anything that I'm not. So
That's right. That's right.
I've
That's
got a
right.
weird light. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think um, that's the thing that I think throws some people is they're not interested in the language, but I'm also not going to hide who I am, and I've definitely toned it down. If you go back to like the way earlier episodes, I was nervous. And but yeah, I think as I've settled into who I am and been more comfortable with who I am, it's toned down. It's still there because sometimes I need to make a point, but
Yeah,
you know, if you're
totally.
not cussing while you're sewing, I don't believe you.
was there was a I watched this channel on YouTube, Dude Dad, and he had an audio clip that's like, if your workshop doesn't even look like this, are you even making anything? And I used
Hmm.
that when I was working on some foundation paper piecing a couple of years ago. But it might also be true here. If you're not swearing when you're sewing, are you even quilting? I don't know. Like maybe not.
No, I don't think so. But yeah, it's been it's been interesting, and I understand like that kind of way is not for everybody, and that's okay. Like I'm not I don't take offense to that. I just it's just funny. Like I did everything I could to warn people that you may not like everything that's on here if you're sensitive to certain things, and um that's all I can do, you know?
Mhm.
I can only
Yep.
mark explicit so many times.
Yep, that's right. That's right. That's right. Well,
So,
for what it's worth, there's lots of people sounding off in the chat talking about how they appreciate you, and they are the same
oh,
way. So I think we can probably let that one go. Nobody's here
yeah,
that's going to be offended about what they might find on your channel. And if they are, you've given them a proper disclaimer, though we're going to keep it clean tonight. So
yes.
I'm really excited to talk to you because you've had a few guests on your show recently, specifically within the past few weeks that I know were at QuiltCon. You had Ian two
Hmm.
weeks ago, you had me this week, and then I think the
Hmm.
week before Ian, you had Mixed Domestic Matthew. Is that right?
I
Yeah.
did, yeah.
You've gotten some good names on your podcast. Who's been your favorite to talk to so far?
That's a crazy question. Um, hmm. Honestly, I don't know how to answer that question because I've found something super valuable out of every single episode with every guest. Um, I think um, this coming Monday, so next week when the new episode drops, I'm having Jenny Grover on again. So this will be her second episode. She's she's in contention. She's a contender for top spot, I think, just because she is a voice for the mental wellness of makers, and um, she's going through it herself. So she's not coming from a high horse perspective. She's coming from a I'm in the mud with you perspective, and I can really appreciate that. Um, I so one of well, I think she was actually our very first actual guest was Katerina Rochella, and she's a designer with Art Gallery Fabrics, and I have loved her since I discovered quilting fabric. Like, I love her designs, and I ended up testing patterns for her in 2021 and like 2022. I eventually stepped away just because the business was so busy and I kept agreeing to things and then not having enough time. I just wasn't giving it a fair shot, and that didn't feel right to keep doing. But anyway, when she agreed to be on the show, I lost my marbles because she's just one of my favorite designers out there. She makes beautiful quilt patterns. She has her PhD in the art world, so she has a ton of art and painting theory behind all of her designs. And not to mention, she's just one of the world's sweetest people. So I think that was the turning point where I was like, okay, I can do this. I can actually do this. So, thank you, Katarina. You're the best. Gosh, I don't know. That's a hard question. I guess I want to hear what some people say if they've heard the show, who their favorite guests are, because that's always interesting to me. I mean, hopefully they say you guys because you're here. And no, you guys are great. I loved your episodes too. So it's just so hard to pick. I don't know. I feel like I'm rambling.
It is hard to pick, and Ian and I were actually talking about that a little bit earlier. So one of the things that you might not know about me if you're just here listening in, or if you're Amanda, Ian knows now, but I think he probably secretly knew before. He's one of my closest friends, and I don't think I have any secrets from him. In fact, yeah, anyway, we'll go down that path later. So no. What I was sharing with Ian is it's really hard for me to listen to a conversation that I had afterwards. It's okay if I'm editing a video because I get to pick and choose what's going out there. But in the world of editing, it can be a little difficult just because I can't go back and take it back, right? Like live streams, or if I recorded a video for somebody else, I did an interview with you, I don't have control over what you did either. And it's not that any of that's bad, but I don't want to replay and overthink what I said. I'd rather just be like, okay, I said it, it's out there, let's go on. And so for me, I did not go back and watch my episode, but I did watch Ian's. Ian has not watched his yet, but he watched mine. So I feel like between the two of us, we're covered.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. I hate, like, especially after editing myself, because whenever I'm editing a video, I have to hear myself sometimes say the same thing over and over and over. I mean, Amanda, you know the editing process and how that all goes on and on. So it's definitely hard to hear myself over and over and over. And so a lot of times, if I don't have to go back and listen to myself, I'm not going to. It's like the answering machine effect. Like, we hear ourselves on the answering machine when they were a thing. And you're just kind of like, do I really sound like that? Is that what I sound like to the rest of the world? So yeah, definitely. Yeah. I listen to hers. She listened to mine. We're good.
Okay. I'm like, as long as you liked each other, it's like,
Yeah, it was
She did a
really
great
good.
job.
In fact, I forced my mom and Mary to listen to it in the car. So we went to a quilt retreat last week, just a closed private retreat for friends. And it was about 4 hours away from us. And so on the way up there, we pulled up the podcast and we listened to part of Ian's episode. We listened to the rest of it on the way back. And it was really nice. The rapport that you guys had together was really good. And I really appreciated just the candid conversation.
We definitely bonded over Taylor Swift. I'm just saying.
You did.
I did.
Well, I felt left out, though. I'm just going to say. Because you guys started talking about all the songs and the 2 album drop. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
You both were
like,
mind blown. I was like, I didn't even know that she had an album.
Yeah.
Well, what's even funnier is Amanda and I apparently went on for quite a long time, and that footage and audio ended up on the cutting room floor. But we both mentioned that we didn't think there were any like huge. I was gonna say bangers, and that doesn't work for Taylor Swift. But there was no like. There was no song that we were like, there was no bops that we're like going to listen to over and over again. And she texted me when she was working on that episode going, man, we were so wrong about that because I love this song. And I was like, I know, I love this song. And
like, we had only had 12 hours with it up to that point. So like, It wasn't enough time to know. I was like, we lied to ourselves.
Yep. 100%. 100%. Put the clown makeup on. I am here.
Yeah. Yeah,
Have either
for
of you
sure.
been? So have either of you seen Taylor Swift in concert?
Nope.
No, no.
I can't afford the tickets.
Are you
Let's
kidding? Yeah,
be
I'm like,
honest.
are you kidding me? I don't have thousands of dollars laying around. I
Wait,
wish.
how much is a ticket?
I don't even want to talk about it.
Not a
No,
lot.
they're very expensive. It just depends too, like, because right now she's on her European tour. So, like, anywhere you go, you have to go to Europe right now, and tickets are like a lot, $500. I don't know.
However, to be fair, I am hearing that because, of course, they reported on Taylor Swift going over to Europe. Some people were able to afford flight, hotel, and Taylor Swift tickets, and that be cheaper than seeing her here in America. I'm just saying.
Really? It's
That's
Yes.
true
that
because they
bad?
don't have Ticketmaster. They don't have like once you're in country, like it just depends, but like things are just less expensive in a lot of areas in Europe. So I can understand that. And um I was hearing that too, that people were like, "Oh, for what it co would cost me for, you know, one ticket to travel to the city and go see her in the US, I was able to take me, my friend, and we went to Europe and stayed for a couple extra days and like got to go see the concert." And so, but I'm also about to leave and walk across Spain for 6 weeks, so that's where all of my money has been going. So
Ooh, talk to us about that. What's driving that trip?
I don't know, my husband. No, I'm just kidding. I went to Spain in high school and I loved it so much. And then 2 years ago, we were like, where do we go? It's our 10th anniversary. We have only taken one actual vacation that was not with or related to family, which was to Hawaii. And I was like, I really want you to see Spain. I think you would love it. I hadn't gone to Barcelona. So we went and spent 2 weeks in Barcelona. And that's when he learned of El Camino de Santiago, which is what we're doing. And he was like, I really want to do it. And I was like, okay, cool. And then like later last year, he was like, okay, no, seriously, we're going to do it this coming summer. And I'm like, okay, okay. And then I was like, yeah, absolutely, totally. Like, I want to do it. That sounds great. But he's in school with him for a master's and, it's just with the business. I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know. And then we finally like just said, you know what? We got to do it. If not now, when? If we keep waiting and putting it off, like, what's the point?
Right.
And so we just bit the bullet. We got our plane tickets and um, we had a deadline because he starts the school semester in the middle of August. So we had to be back by then. And, um, he's just now ending a class that he's been taking all summer. So that will end and then we'll leave and come back right before he starts school. And so for the first week, we're gonna visit Amsterdam for a couple of days, visit Paris for a couple of days, and then we're gonna start the Camino. And I think for both of us, we love growth challenges. We love to just try new things. And this pilgrimage, I think for both of us is just to signify that like we can do hard things, physical or mental or emotional. Um, and we're just both excited to see what reveals itself to us while we're there. So,
That's
It's
awesome.
and
amazing.
our oldest son is also coming with us. So
Oh, awesome. How old's your son?
he'll be 23. He'll turn 23 while we're on the Camino.
Wow. Well, holy
Yeah.
cow, you have a 23-year-old son?
Nene, he's my stepson.
I knew the answer to that because we talked about that. And that was
Yeah.
I was like, oh, let's
Yeah.
tease that out because somebody's gonna be like, she looks like she's 25. God love you.
Wow. Okay, I'll take it. Woo. I like it.
There's a
No,
question for
no,
you in
no.
the chat. Speaking of physical
Okay.
challenges, Amy Dement wants
Ooh.
to know: Are you through hikers in other areas,
Mm.
Appalachia or Sierra?
No, we haven't. Well, I haven't done any through hiking. Last summer, my husband and son, they did a 4-day backpacking loop through the Maroon Bells area in Colorado. I can't speak. Um, Maroon Bells area in Colorado. So it was a 4-day loop, and but they've always done Spartans and tons of mountain biking and hiking. And my husband's been kind of training with a pack and hiking. We have tons of foothills trails here in Boise where we live, and it's very nearby. So we have within a, depending on where we start, we can be with a 5-minute trip away from a trailhead, or we can go farther over to about a 15-minute car trip away from another trailhead. But the trails are interconnected, and so you can loop around in our foothills for about 200 miles.
Wow.
So, yeah, we've been practicing and all that. So, no through
Well,
hiking for me, but
what is the different? What is through hiking? I'm not a hiker. I don't know what that is.
it's um it's basically backpack. So like the Appalachian Trail, you start at the base in Georgia, and then you just hike up the trail, and when you're done, like you hike and camp the whole trail, and then when you finish, you work your way back to where you started, or you can go home from that
Oh,
spot. But so you're hiking through by backpacking and camping, and so like the Pacific Crest Trail is another one. It starts, or there's the terminus in Mexico and the terminus at the border of Mexico in California, and then the end terminus, which is the border of Canada in northern Washington.
okay, that makes sense. So I actually did know what that was. I just didn't know what the name of it was.
Mhm.
I lived in Southwest Virginia for a while, and that
Okay.
trail goes right through there. So
Mhm.
it was a whole big season. It happened all the time. It was a thing. I just never knew that there was a name for it. Very
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. I didn't know what it was called either. So that was a
Very cool.
recent in the last year and a half that I learned what it was called, and I was like, oh, okay. Still don't want to do
Hiking.
it.
Oh, okay. Still don't want to do it. Next.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
funny. That's funny. So
Yeah, I
let's
don't think
talk.
I'll be joining you on that trip.
I was just going to say, let's talk about Ian and hiking. Are you into
No.
hiking?
Yeah.
No, no, not.
I mean, I definitely would do like day trips of like up a mountain or, large hills or stuff like that. I mean, we don't really have those here in Texas, but I do love hiking for the day. I don't plan on doing any overnights or camping or anything like that. If I'm going to do camping, it's going to be in a five-star hotel. So I don't really do it all that well. But yeah, I would definitely hike for the day and have fun.
We had in Southwest Virginia on the trail, one of the things that they do, it's a mountain over in, I think it's the something Rogers National Forest, maybe Jefferson Rogers, I can't remember. Oh, Ian's camera went away and I don't know where he went,
Yep,
but
I'm
oh,
back.
there he comes back. There he is. Anyway,
Oh, hi.
in the trail that goes through Southwest Virginia where we lived, they have it's popular to take your bike up to the top of the mountain and then just ride, almost coast your bike all the way
Hmm.
down the trail to the bottom of the mountain. And so we would do that frequently, and if you didn't have a bike, you could rent one from a nearby bike shop, and they would even load the bike up on their van, drive you up to the top of the hill and drop you off, and you'd spend a couple hours just like coasting down. And so sometimes you go through fields, sometimes you'd be going down, you go over bridges and stuff. There's even a pizza and ice cream shop, a little place that you could stop along the way to have something to have a lunch if they're open when you come through. But that we've done that a number of times, and it's so pretty. It's so pretty. Didn't camp, did not hike it. I rode on two wheels.
Hey, just jumping in here really quick. Don't mean
I
to
know,
interrupt, but
I know, I
okay.
know,
All
I
right.
know.
Just want to make sure
I
that
don't know why it's doing that. There's something going on, and I don't know how to fix it. So I understand that people are seeing that. I get it. I don't know how to fix it. So just keep
I
talking, and
do.
I'll work on the tech while you guys are talking.
Perfect. I do like
Okay.
Zaza's comment of Ian would need to hike in a bubble to prevent serious injury, and she is not wrong.
Right?
That's so funny. Oh,
Yep.
let's see.
Yep. I
Oh,
would
hi,
definitely.
Leslie. She says hi to all of us.
Hello,
Leslie
Leslie.
Finley.
Leslie. I've seen several people in the chat, Amanda, who said that they found you through either my channel or Becca's channel or both's channel, and they are super excited to go back and listen to your previous episodes and kind of catch up. So, also apparently you're almost to 1,000 subscribers from what I heard
I
on here.
am. Yeah,
So everybody
I'm
help her
super
out,
close.
get her to 1,000 because I think you're at like 965 or something like that. So we might
Hmm.
it would be really cool if we could help her get to 1,000 people on tonight's live stream. That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure.
And as soon as I hit 1,000 subscribers, I'm doing a giveaway of
Woo!
Ooh.
show merch and um, I don't know what else yet. I'll think of something, but yeah. So there's at least that. I have a designated amount, but I don't want to share it until I'm a little closer.
Totally fair. I'm almost to 15,000 subscribers, and I'm super excited because hey, you're back. Because once I hit
Yay!
15,000, I'm going to be doing a $100 gift card drawing. So
Nice.
you might.
That's awesome.
Perfect.
How far away are you from your 15,000, Ian?
I think I am less than 50 people away, if I
Wow.
remember
So
correctly.
yeah, if we've got people here in the chat that that would like to tune in, please do. And so just to remind everybody, because I see this going in the chat a little bit, if you do exclamation Amanda in the live chat, the Streamlabs bot is going to drop the link to her channel, and it's already dropped out there a couple of times. So feel free to click on that. That'll take you over to her channel. Ian's is exclamation Ian, but you probably are already subscribed over there. If you're not, go do it because he has a $100 gift card that he could give away. Amanda has some wonderful merch that she's going to give away. Let's help them both celebrate their YouTube milestones. I think we could push them over that edge tonight. Wouldn't that be great if like we got you both at that tonight? That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
and then
That'd be
also,
really
if you have a channel and you're trying to promote yourself, you can always do exclamation selfie in the live chat, and that'll get your link out for other people. So
Mm.
awesome! I literally feel very unprepared for this conversation because I did not set up a list of topics or questions for us to go through. My thought was I wanted to handle it so that it was more of an organic conversation. And I just figured we would have topic starters that would allow us to kind of riff off of one another and it would be a natural conversation. I didn't want it to be like, all right, Amanda, tell us, when were you born? Where were you born? What's your favorite color? Like, I wanted this to be more like quilting and chatting with quilty friends. So I don't have another topic because I'm a little flustered that the technology did not work. So let's talk about that. What has been the biggest hurdle that you have had to overcome getting through all of the tech stuff with setting up your podcast or your YouTube channel? What has been the biggest accomplishment that you've had?
Mm. Well, I think for a while I was having my husband do all the editing and because he learned the Adobe suite because he really got into making YouTube videos and that was part of kind of his encouragement of like I know how to set everything up. I can do this part to help you. You just have to be, the talent essentially. And I was
Right.
like, okay, great. And then it just got to the point where I was like, you know what? I need to be able to do this myself. Like, what the heck? So he built me like a template so I didn't have to learn too much because he's like, I don't think you have time to learn all the things that I've already learned because he's like, he like hyperfixates and he stays up till like 4 o'clock in the morning multiple nights a week doing and learning things. And I'm like 9 p.m. night night. Um, but he taught me the basics of like, because I'm like, I just want to keep it super simple, something I can do all the time. And just learning that and being able to just do it myself has been really um, fun. Just like learning what it takes to edit an episode and figuring out the camera situation and the sound. And thankfully, we had the equipment, so it just like came naturally that way. Um, but yeah, I think that that's where really found my stride of like, I'm doing this myself. I'm putting in the work to make sure that this thing grows. I'm not putting it in someone else's hands and hoping for the best. Like, I'm putting out what I want my audience to hear, in the best way possible. So, did I answer your
That
question? I don't know.
it did, and I think that kind of translates a little bit to the quilting world, right? And so the
Mhm.
reason why I brought that up is because I've been doing the YouTube stuff for a little while, and I know in my demographic there are several content creators that are just starting their. By the way, I think I fixed the camera freezing, and I think I had to have two separate cameras going. So if I freeze on the live stream, just let me know in the chat and I'll go back to the other camera. But I think I'm good now. Anywho, speaking of tech, what happened?
Breaking news. Amanda is now at 1,000 subscribers. In fact, it is 1,000.1K
You guys,
subscribers.
oh my gosh. I'm so excited. Wow, I'm gonna cry right now. How dare you? Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so that means that tomorrow I will announce the actual giveaway with all the details. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Okay, hi, we're back.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank you, and thank you to everybody who subscribed and joined. You're
Well,
so sweet. And okay, keep going.
that's okay. That's fine. Don't listen. The more, the merrier. Just because she hit the
Mhm.
just because she hit her 1,000 subscriber goal, does not mean that she doesn't want any more. So if you still haven't subscribed, exclamation Amanda in the chat, will still get the link over to her channel, and that'll help push her upwards and onwards. Because as we all know, in the ever-growing universe, the YouTube universe, it's always onward and upward, right? You hit the 1,000, yay, celebrate for a moment, and now you're already targeting two. Like before the
Yeah,
end of the
right.
live
I'm
stream,
like,
she's already like, I'm ready for 2,000 now.
yeah.
So
We're gonna sit in this, marinate in this for a minute.
that's totally fine. At that 1,000 subscriber milestone too is it's so validating, right?
Yeah.
Because it's the
Okay.
first big milestone. It's at that point where you're like, wow, I really did something. There's a lot of people that are subscribed and would be interested in the content that I'm making, and it makes you feel really good. So I'm hoping that this is just the start of beautiful things to come for your channel, and it just continues to grow.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
You're
thank you,
welcome.
thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I forgot what I was going with any of that. Oh, I remember the point that I was going to make before I was so rudely interrupted with the celebration for Amanda's 1,000 subscribers. The point that I was going to make is we do have a lot of content creators that are in my demographic, and they're starting channels of their own and they're doing all the things. And while that's
Mhm.
great, I know it can feel a little overwhelming at times because you don't know everything when you start out. I still don't know everything. I get questions from a lot of them frequently about how do you do this? How do I figure this out? I can't figure this out. And unfortunately, I can't help everybody with all of those things. I
Mhm.
don't have enough hours in the day, and I really wish I did. But fortunately, and this is just me speaking to you, if you are one of those, there's so many resources out there. You just have to
Mhm.
buckle down and put in the time to Google the questions and watch the tutorials that are online, and eventually you can figure it out. I mean, if you could figure out how to operate this heavy machinery and use a very dangerous rotary cutter, you can do the other things too. You can be taught.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
uh,
absolutely. Go ahead, Ian.
I didn't have anything. I'm
Oh,
sitting
sorry.
sitting
I
here
thought you.
looking. I'm pulling
Oh,
stuff. I'm working behind the scenes. Y'all are probably seeing my eyes dart around because I'm working behind the scenes and looking at some things as things are happening currently.
oh,
So
yeah, actually, this is a good point. So Donna Hoskins says, Becca, have you told her about the postcard celebrations that you do?
hmm.
No, I haven't, and we'll have to talk offline. Like, I'll get your information offline. So one of the things that I've started doing, I don't mean to burst your bubble, but I'm about to burst your bubble. You get to
okay.
1,000 subscribers and then nothing until you get to 10. And then after you pass
Yeah.
10, it's nothing from YouTube until you get to 100,000. And that is a long drought. It is a long,
Hmm.
hard drought, especially because the smaller you are, the more you have to hustle to really get into the algorithm, and then the bigger you get, the more you're feeding the beast, it becomes more quality over quantity type of thing, and so you can kind of even out a bit, but it still takes a long time to get to that 100,000 subscriber mark. And so what I have started doing is, and this, if you guys want to do it too, you're more than welcome to. On my website, up at the top right corner, there'll be a menu option for free downloads. And on that free downloads page is an FPP template to make a 5x7 quilt top of the YouTube play button. And so I make one of these little fabric postcards that looks just like the YouTube play button. And every time one of my friends hits like that 10,000 subscriber milestone, I drop it in the mail. And for some of the smaller channels, what I started doing is if it's somebody I've been collabing with or talking to, I've been considering dropping it in when they hit 1,000. So I'll be happy to send you congratulations on your 1,000. Ian, you got to wait till 20.
That's okay. That's
I'm just
totally
saving.
fine.
I am saving you having to pack it.
Right, it's true. It's true.
So
He's
yeah,
Absolutely.
like, what do I do with this?
yeah. He's like, oh great, I got to pack this. Thanks. You could
I
have
gotta
just kept it.
find some place to put it. No, I'm just kidding.
So, oh, looks like you are at
That's so funny.
1.04 thousand subscribers now. I guess 1,040, somewhere around there. So that
Yeah.
number is going to keep going up tonight, just so everybody knows. And we're excited for you about that. So we'll see where we end.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm so excited. It's
Yeah.
so crazy to see it. And like honestly, I think I told you both like your episodes have been doing really well, um and like I've seen more and more participation in listening to the episodes, but yours both went over 1,000 views within the first 2 days, and that has never happened. So I was like, I'm sweating. This is really cool. Thank you for being part of my podcast and helping push that goal for me. It's so meaningful to me, and so I really appreciate that you guys were willing to be on and chat with me and share your stories. And we've had lots of interaction on your episodes on YouTube as well, which has been so great. It's been fun to interact with listeners and answer questions. And I don't know, like if you go through, you'll notice if anybody asks questions or makes comments, I do my best to get to every single one. So if you
I've been
reach
trying.
out to me, you will get me. So
I've been trying to watch the comments on the episode that you had me on and just kind of see what people are saying, try to answer back to people and stuff like that. But thank you for having us on. It was a lot of fun and I really enjoyed our chat. And I definitely, I wish we could have, like, so much was happening during QuiltCon, so we just didn't get a chance to meet up this QuiltCon, but I'm excited to meet you at next QuiltCon for sure.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that too. So let's
Yeah.
talk about QuiltCon. QuiltCon sign up, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, you guys can hold me accountable here. I believe registration will open up July 31st for Modern Quilt Guild members. Is that right? Did I read that right? Am I remembering right?
So I think
Okay.
so. Pretty
Okay.
sure.
I think that's what it is. Either way, it's coming. It's really, really soon. And I am so excited about that. I went to QuiltCon Atlanta. That was my first QuiltCon experience, and I overdid it. I signed up for way too much stuff. And then QuiltCon Raleigh, I went the opposite direction and took no classes and just a couple of workshops. But this year, I think I know what my sweet spot's going to be, and I've got a better agenda. So I think I'm going to take some classes and maybe some workshops. We'll see. I have a couple of friends. Actually, one of the friends I'm trying to steal, but he's really more Ian's friend.
You're not stealing him from me. I'm sorry.
Okay, but we can share him. We can share him.
Yes.
So Leo Ransom. Leo Ransom is you guys have heard his name before. He does amazing. Have you had him on the podcast yet? Oh, you need to have. Oh, write him down. Yep. Ian will take care of it. He is a QuiltCon winner. One of his pieces of work won an award at QuiltCon, and he makes amazing portrait quilts. Amazing portrait quilts. And this year, he's going to be teaching at QuiltCon. And I've been
Ooh.
wanting to do one of his workshops. I know he offers them virtually and teaches them in person and things. And so I thought maybe this year I could sign up and take one of his workshops at QuiltCon. And then I also have a friend, Erin Grogan. I think she was on yours from Love So Modern. Yeah, she was on
Yeah.
yours. She's a good friend of mine. She also is now going to be teaching at QuiltCon. This is her first year. So I'm like, okay, now I've got two friends that are teaching at QuiltCon. I feel like I got to take the class to support them. So I think I'm definitely going
Yeah.
to take two classes. I might not do any more than that, but I'll be in those two classes, I think. Heather said, I can't have Leo. The debt-free quilter said I can't have Leo. So
Yeah, I'm sad I'm going to be moving away from Leo because it's nice to hang out with him and his husband. They're great. It's so much fun to uh, hang out with them and get to, just we spent 2 weekends, not consecutively, but we worked on our Lady Gaga quilts and had so much fun learning that technique and getting his input, understanding like what he's looking for and how he does it, and just getting to sit there and jam out to music. We were watching Drop Dead something. I don't remember the name of the show. Drop Dead Gorgeous. I don't remember. Anyways, we sat there watching episodes, just talking all sorts of fun stuff. So Leo's great, and I'll definitely see if I can't introduce the two of you.
that would be awesome.
Mhm.
That's I think that's what's so cool about this community. I know every community has some naysayers out there, some folks that like to stir up the drama or cause tension or create divide. I'll put it that way. They like to create divide.
Mhm.
But I feel very lucky in that the community that I found myself immersed in, subscribers, fellow content creators that I work with and collab with, everybody's so encouraging and everybody just wants to support one another. There's no
Mhm.
jealousy, there's no divide. There's nothing like that. It's just literally, hey, you're doing this thing, that's really cool. Even if I still do it, I'm going to support you because I know how much that means to you. And I think in some ways, if you're doing the thing that they're also doing, there's almost a sense of understanding. They can empathize with how passionate you might be about the thing that you're doing because they've done it too and they have that same excitement and that same emotion. And so I yeah, for that reason alone, I'll every day and twice on Sunday, I'm going to support anybody that's trying to follow their creative dreams, whether that's creating YouTube videos, starting a podcast, or trying to tackle quilting. Whatever it is, whatever creative thing it is that brings you joy, I'm behind you 100%. It's the best thing for you.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah,
I don't
same.
know. I have no idea how we follow that up.
Well, I do want to share that I've got some big changes happening, not necessarily for the podcast, that'll still be pretty consistent, but I am going to be buying my parents out of their half of the business of my quilting business. And I'll be moving it into my temporary studio, which my husband has so lovingly and kindly built for me in our garage, which will be temperature controlled, and I'll have access to the outside, which is great. And so, yeah, that's going to be a big change. But also, I'm very excited because that will, I think, give me more ability to create more content, to create some tutorials that I've been wanting to do, and just generally kind of be more in it, because right now everything's at my parents' house in that regard. So um having to do the podcast and then work at my parents' house and then come
Mm.
home, it's just been kind of back and forth. And although we're only 4 miles apart, it still is just like I have to leave my house every day. And
Yep.
so anyway, that's really exciting. And then one of my very first big projects as the sole owner of Sweet Pea Design Company, I'm going to be helping Erin Bush and Caprera. She's at Seam Ripper Society on the Instagram. She's been working on this quilt where she's gathering the data from I can't remember the source right now. Anyway, about shootings that occur in the United States, some mass
Oh.
shootings. And so she's making tally mark blocks to account for the days of each month that there's reported and recorded gun violence. So she and I are partnering on that creatively. So I'll do the first half in one big panel, and then the second half I'll do later on next year, because it's taken her a long time, which is really sad because she's just now getting into sewing, I believe April's blocks. She just finished March. So that's been interesting, and I'm a hardcore advocate for stricter gun laws. I'm not one of those like we need to take all the guns, but like we need to be definitely more responsible in who has guns and who has access to them. And as a former teacher, one of my biggest anxieties in that format was having to do lockdown drills and teach my kids the safety drills. And I would cry almost every single year teaching my little 8-year-old that, no, I'll be a human shield for you. I'm supposed to be teaching you how to multiply, but also if a person with a gun comes into the school and wants to hurt you for no reason, then I'll definitely step in front of that bullet for you. And I left teaching because that was one of the biggest reasons that I was struggling mentally and emotionally and couldn't get my health under control. So anyway, I'm very excited to be working on that project. I'm excited it's going to be something that I do as my first kind of like step into full ownership of the business, and I can marry the two, the podcast and the business, more closely, just because I will be the puppet master, if you will.
It's so
Is your mom
funny
still
to.
going to be working for you? Is she going to help at all, or is she done?
No, she'll still help me out. Yeah,
Okay.
like I can definitely, I'll contract her in when I
Yeah.
need support, and
Yeah.
she's definitely more than willing to do that.
Cool.
I was just ready to take it on and take it in a different direction. And my parents are more than supportive, and it's a good thing. Everybody's happy. We're all good. We love each other. Like, but yeah, I definitely have had some like plans in my head since we started the business that I'm like, I'm ready to launch these kinds of things. So here we go.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what were you going to say, Becca?
No. So hold on. Let me read in my head. Okay, so Zaza, who is not from the U.S., says no child should have to do active shooter drills at school. U.S. gun laws lack of are crazy from someone who lives outside the U.S. And so all I was going to say is it's interesting that you brought that up because I actually had an open discussion with that with my daughter, who's 13, she'll be 14 this year, because her entire school life she has always done lockdown drills, and I went to school when we never had to do that, right? And now it's a thing, right? I think it was a big thing when I was going to school if you happened to go to a school that had metal detectors, because not all of them had that, but it's just a different era than when I went to school. And I don't want to get overly political on this because it's such a polarizing view, and I can understand both sides of the fence. But as a mother, I'm sad that my daughter has to know how to hide. You know what I mean? At school, like I don't love that. I don't love that, but yeah, a couple of people in the chat did mention something about they were following that quilter for a while, and I guess Karen Brown from Just Get It Done Quilts did an interview with the gun quilt G quilter, and it was very interesting. So yeah, I have not actually heard of that at all, so I have to look it up.
I came across it, I think on Instagram. I think I came across it, and it was interesting because I didn't read the caption at first and just saw the tally marks, but yet it's sad that I kind of knew what it was already without even having to read the caption. And then as soon as I started reading what she wrote about it was, yeah,
Yeah.
it's, yeah.
And
Well,
she's been really good about providing
no,
stats and her resources. And if people ask her questions, she'll do her best to answer them as thoroughly as possible. She's
Yeah.
not being flippant about it. And the beautiful thing is she's using thrifted bed sheets to make the blocks. So not only is it her way of, you know, activism and action, using her skills as a quilter to do that, but she's also showing how you don't have to spend a bunch of money on fancy fabric. You can make it out of bed sheets and it still packs the punch with a statement. It doesn't matter the materials. So I just
Yeah.
thought that was really, really cool. And I felt really passionate about it. And I'm the one who reached out to her because I was like, do you have a quilter yet? And she was like, no, are you volunteering? And I was like, absolutely, I am. So it's really exciting. So
I'm excited to see what you do with that. That's going to be great.
Yeah.
It'll be great.
thanks.
There are plenty of folks in the chat that were teachers in their day, and they all kind of, it seems like they all kind of empathize with the same type of message that you said. So you're not the only one. You're not the only one. But I'm glad. I'm sad to hear that you had to leave the profession because that activity was causing emotional, and it wasn't good for your health. I'm sad to hear that, because most people that end up in the teaching profession, it is a love, right? They wanted to do it. It was their passion. They were born to do it. That's what they wanted to do. And so it's almost a little sad that you left, because it's like you left your dream job. But you found quilting.
Yeah, yeah,
Hey!
yeah, yeah. It's honestly, if I didn't have the business to step into, I don't know that I would have been as encouraged to leave when I did. And um, there's just a lot of stuff going on, and it was really hard. And so I have nothing but the most respect for those who stay in the profession, who keep fighting that good fight, who are there for the kids, and keep making a difference every day. I think it's so important. And so I just want to say that. And then, yeah, it felt like a little piece of me died when I left. But I'm also excited because eventually one of my goals with my business is to eventually have a place where I can host kids sewing classes. I want to teach kids how to sew. And just have, simple machines like my little brother here. I got this machine when I first started quilting, and it's my personal machine that I have here at home. It's just a little XM 2701, just a few basic stitches, a couple of fancy stitches. It can do buttonholes, which is cool. But just something like that that's like easy to learn on and simple to use. And I just want that for myself and my business, and to merge the things that I love. I mean, Becca, you and I talked about the technology aspect of things and how I'm getting to merge that with my quilting. And I do have a master's in educational technology, so that's really cool. And but I want to add back in the teaching aspect. So,
And that is where University of YouTube comes into play. Giovanna says you can teach here in the University of YouTube, and that is absolutely right. I don't know if we talked about this in the podcast, but I know it's a topic that I've shared a lot. And so I'm sure folks that are watching right now or on the replay, they're going to hear this for the umpteenth time. The whole reason I got started in YouTube is because I love to teach. I think I missed my calling as a teacher. I started college. The first 30 credit hours I got in, they were all elementary education focused. And then they sent me out to audit a classroom and to be a teacher's aide for a couple of weeks for an assignment. So I showed up in an elementary school and I was like, well, what would be the easiest class? Kindergarten. No, that's the hardest class. That's the hardest class. I audited that kindergarten classroom and then went back, finished out those credits, and immediately changed my major to computer information systems. I went from dealing with all the people all the time to no people. So, but the world of YouTube for me it's very rewarding because I get to scratch the desire to teach. So I get to scratch that itch. I get to play with technology just a little bit, just enough to kind of feel kind of neat, but not so much that I'm totally off in la la land with it. But also I get to be creative in whatever I'm making with that needle and fabric. And that's just the blend of those three things while also being able to meet and interact with other quilters. It's amazing. I love it. And I'm sure you will too.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Ian, how
I
did you get?
enjoyed,
I was going to ask you how you got started. Go ahead. It sounds like that's where you were going. So,
well, kind of in a way, but I enjoyed because I was an informal, I've been an informal educator for a large majority of my career. Although I did switch career paths, I actually just added up all the years that I spent in the museum industry. And I realized that I had spent 19 years in the museum industry. So it was a long time that I was there, and a lot of it was the informal education portion of it. So getting to talk to people in the galleries about science, getting to go out into the community in a mobile makerspace, teaching them, all sorts of different things. One of the things that I tried to get going on the mobile makerspace was sewing, but sewing machines are not cheap. Even some of the more cheaper ones are not cheap. And so trying to buy a whole classroom set of sewing machines, which is just a lot of times out of reach, unfortunately, for the programs that I was working on. But um,
Mm.
I think I love the informal part of education because it gives so much more flexibility. It gives, like, I don't have to teach to certain curriculums or certain tests or anything like that. So I enjoy teaching as well. And that's why I have a YouTube channel, is because, and why I've maintained it as long as I have, because I do enjoy getting to teach, and why I like doing the tutorials for cotton cuts and, other things like that. So I definitely have that education bug as well.
Yeah. And we did talk about that in your episode too,
Yep.
how we both have that kind of instructional design,
Hmm.
educational aspect on things. And it's just really such a fun aspect of everything. And when I was working part-time at one of our local quilt shops, that's where I had learned how to long arm. And
Hmm.
then as I was working there, because they knew I know those machines like the back of my hand, because that's the kind of machine I bought, they're like, "Ooh, you can teach long arming." And I was like, "You got it." So I started teaching the long arm certification classes. And so that was fun, because then I was like, "Oh, I get to put this in action, and I'm a great teacher. I know that about myself, and I do know these machines." And it was really fun. It was fun to work with adults, because I think that was like where I would freeze up and hesitate, is if I had to present to like my colleagues, or, "Oh, it's your turn to lead professional development." And I'm like, "No, thank you." Um, but it really helped kind of push me over that fear and just get in it. It's like we're all little kids on the inside who just want to learn stuff,
Oh my gosh,
and just
yes.
getting to create that
Absolutely.
environment was so fun. So,
Yeah. I found that out a lot whenever I was working at the science museums. Everybody's just the kid at heart. And
mhm,
that was one of the things that I loved about my job, is I was having to teach concepts to adults all the way down to small children, and figuring out how to take those concepts, and especially like not taking those larger concepts that maybe an adult can understand and dumbing them down. I never wanted to dumb anything down for
mhm,
the younger kids, but bringing that information down to a form that they can digest and understand, while still maintaining that level of knowledge that it doesn't dumb it down.
yeah.
speaking of your business, Amanda, I just want to point out that Pat Strawhouse said she is browsing your Sweet Pea Design Company store on a screen, of course, so that she can still watch the live
Oh.
stream. But she said you have really cute quilted baby jackets.
Hmm. Yeah, so we have some ready-made quilts and items for sale on our website, and in our Etsy shop. My mom made those jackets. I have made my own quilted jacket. Is it right here? No, it's in the other room. Um, so I haven't made a baby size, but she made a couple of really cute baby ones that are on there for sale, and they are super cute. There's a one that's kind of blues and tans, and it's got like little airplanes and trucks on it, and then the other one is like purples in batik, and more for, I don't know. It could be for anybody. I'm not here to tell you how to dress your children. Um, the they're really cute. But thank you for the compliment. I'll tell my mom. She'll be so excited.
That's awesome. That's awesome. There's lots of folks in here talking about teenagers being difficult. So, I, what
Yeah.
grade did you teach, Amanda? Or yeah, Amanda. Sorry, what grade did you teach?
I taught third grade, so 8 and 9 years old.
Yeah, you mentioned
Hmm.
the age, but I can't do the math.
Yeah, little 8 and 9 year olds. Yeah,
Same.
I that age is great. I love the the autonomy they start to gain and the curiosity that's still there. Unfortunately, in in school, that's the year where they are tested to death. Um, they not only have to do the lower elementary testing as far as like reading and math goes, but then they also have to add in the upper elementary. So that's the year you start taking the
SOLs.
state testing, the ISAT, plus all the other reading and math check-ins. And so it just, I think it started to kill my love of learning a little bit because I just felt like I was always teaching to a test, even though we weren't supposed to. But it's like my kids have literally never sat and written a 5 paragraph essay on a computer before. Like I need to teach them how. And thankfully, because of my master's, I was able to pilot having um, some Chromebooks, laptops in my classroom to show that I could integrate them and get my kids, more prepared for those kinds of things. And it worked. So then the next, I actually was like, no, every classroom needs, it's not just me. And I can work with any teacher who has questions or if they need help kind of figuring out how to integrate this. And kind of because of COVID, but also because I fought really hard. Um, the next year, every single classroom got a cart of Chromebooks, so every student had their own Chromebook.
Wow.
They came to school, got the same one every day. Were responsible for keeping it plugged in at night, and just taught them like this is a really cool learning tool if you know how to use it. But up until that point, a lot of times computers, technology in general, is novelty for them.
Hmm.
And so they're like, all my kids want to do is play games. I'm like, well, then show them how to do different stuff with it. And
Yeah.
they'll turn that into a game. So it's like it's all on how you use it and it's all on how you show them how to use it. But I do love that age because they still care. They still want to like impress you. But they develop a lot more autonomy and like self awareness and start to kind of build values. And it's really, really cool to see.
Yeah. I thinking back to Zoe and her. I'll be well. No, actually, from kindergarten they had devices in the classroom,
Mhm.
but in the first few years of her elementary school, it was iPad until we moved to the different school district. They were always iPads, and they were always left in the room because the kids really never had any homework, so there was no need to send them home.
Mm-hmm.
Until I think she got to third grade, they allowed them to start taking them home because you might have to finish an assignment or something. And unfortunately, that is when COVID happened, right? So she
Mm-hmm.
had the iPad, and all of a sudden, everything was through Canvas and all the things on the iPad. But since then, it's I I feel like I'm an older millennial, but younger Gen X. I hit right on that straddle, right on that, like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not either one, I'm kind of both. And so
Mm-hmm.
I can remember growing up and there was no technology like that. But I can remember in my teenage years that the technology was starting to be everywhere. And so I had to adapt really fast. And that's just how life was. But it's interesting to see her do math on a
Mm-hmm.
Chromebook because my brain still wants to get the lined paper with the pencil, and then you put the
Mm-hmm.
ones in the one column, the tens in the ten, and you
Mhm.
have to keep it neat so you don't get it messed up. And she's over here doing it in PowerPoint. I'm like, what are you doing right now? It's so interesting to
Mm-hmm.
how it's different. It's just I don't think I could. My brain doesn't work that way, but she's got it down. So
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting to me that millennials are the last generation to have right, to have the internet, but also have a time that didn't have the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, we had computers, and I remember printing on the paper with uh,
Yep, the
the
computer paper.
the computer paper where you tear off the edges and stuff like that. I
For the dot
remember,
matrix printers. Yep.
uh-huh, yep. I remember drawing on the old
Yep.
Macintosh and printing it out using that
Yep.
paper and not having any access to the internet. We still had a corded home phone.
Yep.
Like, yeah, I remember a lot of those things. So it's very interesting to, as a millennial, to have lived both
Both.
no internet life and
Hmm.
having all the internet.
I think a lot of the millennials recognize that. I think the difference is, well, and I, again, I don't know. Like I said, I think I'm right on that straddle. I'm right on that line. But for me, computers and technology started kind of coming about while I was in high school. We did not have a computer at home. It was still very uncommon for everybody to have a computer in their home. If you had a
Mhm.
computer, you were you were pretty well off. Like you were middle class, right? And I did not grow up middle class, so I didn't have any of those things. But they were in the classrooms, and you started having access to them.
Mhm.
It was after I graduated from high school, I got my first computer, and that's when they started becoming, they were more popular. And you
Mhm.
had internet in most of the homes. There was at least one computer, and it just blew up. We all know what the story looks like because we've all been through it. But yeah,
Hmm.
I can definitely remember all that, but I can also definitely very vividly remember my mom telling me cartoons are over on Saturday, go outside and don't come back till the street lights are on. If you're thirsty, drink out of the hose. Like so there you go. I got
Mhm.
both.
I remember being told, I don't remember if it was like the Macintosh or because we had a Macintosh for a little bit, and then I can't remember the next computer up that was from there, but I definitely remember like hearing in school and like going on field trips and being told, everyone's going to have a personal computer in their home someday. And I know that we were lucky because we had computers before pretty much a lot of people did, but I'm thinking like, wow, everyone like, what is this world going to look like when we all have computers in our homes and, all the things. And now, as I was on the mobile maker space, I was talking about, 3D printers and saying, like, in the future, everyone's going to have a 3D printer in their house. And it's just kind of one of those weird, almost deja vu moments where we've evolved from the computer now to, hey, in the future, everyone's going to have a 3D printer in their home.
Hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. My
3D
husband and I
printer in
were
your home.
literally just talking about cameras because, like I said, he started getting into like making YouTube videos, and we're taking some equipment, a little bit, but some equipment with us on our Camino so that we can, come home and make a cool video out of it. And for ourselves, we'll post it on YouTube publicly, but it'll be mostly for us. And he was talking about this new camera he wants to get. He's like, so is there like do you think maybe you'll record content, like quilting stuff and like tutorials when the business is here in our garage? And I was like, yeah, I totally want to do that. I'm so excited. Like I have all these plans. He's like, so like what if you had like a really cool camera? And I was like, which one do you want to buy? And he's like, we're just talking because he's like, I feel bad, but it's so cool because it has like it's one of the DJI,
Mm.
can't remember what it's called, Omni maybe. Anyway, it has face tracking technology, and it's like this little, it's small, so it's cool. Has stabilization in it and all these things. And I was like, oh, that would be perfect. And he's like, I just feel bad. I have all this stuff, this other camera stuff, but I can't use it anymore. Like the GoPros come with the gimbal technology inside of them now. You don't need a separate gimbal, but we have gimbals because we bought them when we had the older GoPros, and it's just like all these things that kind of become obsolete
Mhm.
at the end of the day because new things are invented and developed and improved. And I think Becca, you and I touched on that in our episode, just how things change, and the pencil is a technology. It's not strictly related to just only computers or cameras. But it's things that help you do things better or more efficiently. And so cameras are in that lane as well. It's just crazy how quickly things change. And to your point, Ian, like, yeah, I grew up drinking out of the hose, climbing trees, getting muddy. We had a computer, but it was just kind of like you can play games for 1 hour a day, and that was all. So you could use it all in one chunk, or you could, you know, break it up, whatever. But it wasn't, and we would watch like Disney movies and stuff, but we weren't like a big TV movie watching family because we were like go outside and do crafts and do other things. But we also lived in like a like our neighborhood had two cul-de-sacs, and it was really enclosed, and it was really safe, and had neighborhood friends, and we'd be running around outside till the streetlights came on and be like, it's time to come in, and we're like, I can still see the sun. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy just how yeah, like the two different kind of worlds of embracing like that, one foot in kind of the old way, and one foot in the modern things in life. But it's going to be that way for everybody, I think, in some capacity, right?
Yeah, I
I think in
think
some
so.
ways.
I think so. It's interesting because you were talking about how even like the pencil is a technology. It's a tool that we use to make things, to do things, right? And when you
Mm-hmm.
said that, an image that popped in my head is just like when we're quilting, when we're sewing, our templates for cutting things in the quilting world back in the day used to be cardboard, pencil, and scissors. And now you've got all of these acrylic templates that are reusable for, you have them in just about every shape and size. You've got the rotary cutter and the mat. So and if that's not your thing, you've got the AccuQuilts, and some of them are electric where you just press a button and it does everything for you. Or you can use Cricut for it. There's so many different things now with tech that can make your quilting life or your creative life even more enjoyable, maybe would be the word I would use, but I hesitate because I am sure some folks out there like that is not enjoyable.
Yeah.
I think accessible or easier in some regards is probably a better word to go with, because I know that using the Cricut for me has helped me achieve things that I wouldn't have been able to, or at least it would have taken me much longer to do if I didn't have a Cricut, cutting out 500 square triangle pieces is so much faster on a Cricut than by hand or, something else. So yeah, I think it's definitely, there's been a lot of movement, and I've heard a statistic saying that, it used to be every 100 years we would have major technology advances, and that 100-year span has shrunk down to like 10 years. So every 10
Mhm.
years we're actually making 100 years worth of technology advancements. So it's pretty interesting.
That's bananas.
I this is so dumb, but I was actually on YouTube. I got really nostalgic for a bit, and I started going back and watching old 80s and 90s commercials for like micro micros. What are those cars? Micro machines. And somebody had like this old micro machine playset, and I remember it. It was like the shape of a battery, and you open it up, and it's got all these, I don't remember what's on the inside exactly, but it's a whole play set inside of it. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I remember this. And so there was that. There's somebody in the chat just mentioned VCRs, and there was that device that you could set the clocks on the dials on the thing, and then leave it in front of your VCR, so that way y'all could go to dinner and it would automatically record your shows, because at that time we didn't have streaming. And if you missed your show, then who knows when you would see it come back around. And but I don't know why I went back and watched all those, but I definitely went back and watched some of them, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I remember everything about this.
Yeah. I, gosh, I remember doing that, but I also remember, do you remember making your mixtapes from the
Yes,
radio? And you get so
yes,
mad if the DJ spoke over the first couple. You're like, "Are you ruined it?
yep.
Stop
Yeah.
talking!"
Like, oh, I could punch you right now.
Or if you weren't paying
Dang it.
Dang it.
attention and like missed that, like you were doing something and then you hear your song come on and you like dive for the radio to hit record,
The slow-mo,
definitely hit
like,
them.
ah.
Yeah, uh-huh. Yep.
It was
Yeah.
always it was always my goal when I was making the mixtapes off of the radio to make it sound like it was a professional tape. So I wanted like the very first chord and the very last chord with no interruption in it. So if
Hmm.
the
Mhm.
DJ spoke over the top, they usually didn't interrupt the song, but if they ever spoke over the top or the end of the song, I was not a happy camper. And now I think about it and I'm like, I don't even listen to the radio now. Hey, I got Apple Music. Who cares? A
The
podcast and Apple
only
Music. That's all I got.
the only radio that I listen to now is NPR. I don't even I have several stations programmed in my car, but I never listen to them anymore. It's NPR or it's
Yeah.
Apple Music for me. Or a podcast.
I do, well, okay, podcasts, audiobooks, or Apple
Mm.
Music. I'll do audiobooks, but do you want to know honestly what I do a lot in my car? I talk to Ian, or I do nothing. I'll
Yeah.
pull up Marco Polo and I'll catch up with some of the messages there, but I'll find myself a lot of times just driving in the car with absolute silence. No, and it's funny because a few weeks ago I was in the car and I turned the radio on. I hooked up the phone and turned on a song. I was like, "Oh, I have a good sound system." I forgot I had,
Hey, bass.
I got the bass in my car. My car's bumping. I forgot I had it because, well, the story behind that is when my daughter was younger, she didn't want to hear the things that I wanted to listen to. She wanted to hear like her Giggle Bellies and her music, and that was fine. So we listened to that, but that got really tiring really quick. And then when she started accepting some of the songs that I listened to, I like to sing along with them. Even if I don't sound good, I want to belt them out. I want to sing. And so I would turn something on and she would get upset with me if I sang the song. One of her favorite songs was Roar by Katy Perry. She loved that song. And so every time it came on, I wanted to sing it too. And she'd be like, "Mom, that's not your song. It's my song." And I wasn't allowed to sing it. So I was like, well, if I can't sing with the music, I don't want to listen. And I've just kind of got used to it.
That's
Oh,
so
my
funny.
daughter. My daughter. Gotta love her.
Yeah.
She's something.
That's so funny.
Mm.
I know we
Oh,
kind of fight over who gets to play music in the car if the boys are with us, because our youngest is 19 and they definitely have a different taste than their dad and I. So it's not bad. It's just like we don't necessarily tune into hip hop as much as they do, which is great. Like it's just funny. We're like, we're gonna listen to our music, and they're like, okay. Their earpods are in, and they're listening to their own music on their phones. But then if we give them control, they're like trying to search for things that they think we'll like, and we're like, just don't worry about us. Like we're fine. We can handle it. And then it's
We
just
knew
so
what we
funny.
were
But
getting into when we told you you could pick the music, okay?
right.
yeah,
We knew what this was.
yeah,
We weren't born yesterday. Oh
yeah.
man. Well, the Apple Music now has that QR code that you can pull up on the radio,
Hmm.
right? And so you can have
Hmm.
a passenger scan it and add music and cue it up.
Hmm.
And I never really have anybody in the car that's going to do that because my husband doesn't do tech. Like he's like, here, how do I
Hmm.
turn my phone on? So that it's fine. So Ian was in the car. We were driving back from QuiltCon, and the whole way down the road, that he was playing DJ from the back seat. He was like, "There you go, there you go, there." It was a good playlist. He had a good mix going. I was like, I can jam with this. So that was good. I liked that. That was kind of cool.
It was fun because Tiffany was also like adding songs. She couldn't exactly participate because she has an Android and both Becca and I have iPhones. And so like we were trying to include Tiffany and make sure that she got songs in that she wanted. And so Tiffany would text me the link to the song that she wanted to add. And so I would put that into the list and then I'd be like, "Oh, that's a good song." And then Becca would be like, "Oh, don't forget to add this one." So it was fun just throwing all these different songs into the mix and we covered everything,
We did.
every decade. We went the whole everything, and it was a lot of fun. That was a fun car ride for sure.
Well, Amanda, we got the first comment about how you look too young to have a 19-year-old.
I know. I know. He's my stepson, for those of you who don't know. I'm a stepmom. Um, yeah. I mean, I am old enough to have had a 19-year-old, but I did not.
I don't
No,
believe
this
it.
womb is closed. So yes, I'm very fortunate to have two amazing stepsons who I've been around for 16 years of their lives. So yeah, my husband and I just celebrated our 12th wedding anniversary, and
Congratulations.
thank you. Yeah.
Congratulations. Awesome.
So um yeah, I am old enough. Okay. But I did not give birth. So it's fine.
I don't believe it.
Thank
I
you.
don't believe it at all. Martha's Creative Life is saying, do y'all remember the first iPod? I do. I remember the first iPod. And the reason I remember it is because I went in high school between my um, uh, junior and senior year. I took a trip with the People to People Student Ambassador Project to Europe. And there was one person on that, and she had an iPod. And it was like the original iPod that had the buttons and everything. And everyone was just like, whoa, you've got the iPod. Wow, can I hear? I want to, and I was even like, I want to hear what it sounds like because, portable music that's not on a CD. What is
Yep.
this? So
Yep.
I
Yep.
definitely remember that.
Yeah,
Mary and I have
that's so
had
crazy.
several of those conversations because even 10 years ago, but definitely 20, 30 years ago, it was CDs. That's what you had. And before CDs, it was tapes. And before tapes, it was the 8 tracks and the vinyl and all the things. But the point is, there was always a physical element to your music.
Mhm.
If you did not have the physical element, you weren't listening to music unless you were listening to the radio, and it's evolved, right? I have the entire I have all of the music in the world is through my Apple Music subscription. I can listen to anything, anytime, anywhere without having to buy the CD.
Yep.
And the reason why that became a conversation we were having is because she just bought a new car. She had a Mini Cooper for a number of years and it had a CD player in it. And she loves to have the physical CD. That is something that she looks forward to. Even though she can have the music on her phone, she prefers to have the CD. Fine. So for Christmas, I got her a couple of Tom Petty CDs, maybe just one, I don't remember. But I got her Tom Petty CDs because she loves Tom Petty. Well, she recently, within the past couple months, got a new car. So she sold her Mini Cooper and got a new Nissan Sentra. And guess what? It doesn't have a CD
CD
player.
player.
Right. And so she's like, and I kept telling her, I was like, Mary, at one point, I know you love your CDs, but you're going to lose that because that is obsolete technology now. And I can't
Hmm.
believe I'm saying that, but it's obsolete technology now, just like DVDs are too. And it's hard for us personally as a family, that becomes hard, the DVDs, because my stepson has a mental condition. He's autistic and mentally handicapped, and so he'll watch movies streaming, but he also has a process where he flips through DVDs and picks out his DVD and puts it into a DVD player. And I'm ruining the day because those are going to go away and we're not going to be able to replace them. And I'm not looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We had, pardon me, I remember Dad bringing home a laser disc player, which
Ooh.
it was funny that because Laserdisc was starting to it was this weird kind of fork in the road where it was like Laserdisc and DVDs kind of hit around the same
Hmm.
time. And like Laserdisc were starting to be the more popular one, but then DVDs out took it. And
Hmm.
I definitely remember having there was an example laser disc that was nothing but like this live stop motion animation thing, and I love just sitting there watching it. And I have good memories of laser discs.
And laser discs, I think, were superior in quality than DVDs, weren't they?
Hmm.
I
I
never had
think
one.
they were. I think they were because they're larger, so you could well nowadays 4K it doesn't matter. Like laser discs are definitely old news, but I think at the time they were a little more superior, but they didn't have the compact size that it would be like having
DVD.
to yeah, it would be like having to stack up vinyls because they were about the size of a vinyl.
Yeah,
Hmm, interesting.
so crazy.
No.
My
Well,
car still
listen.
has a 6-disc changer in it.
Well, that's Mary just popped into the chat and said I had a six disc CD player in my Mini Cooper. Sorry, like, okay, sorry,
Yeah. Oh,
sorry,
sorry.
sorry. I can remember having, like, that was the thing too, having a stereo system with the detachable speakers,
Hmm.
and having like a 6 disc CD changer, and you would just load up your 6 favorite CDs and you go for days. It was fine. Does It's not that way anymore. And now you've got Apple. Well, and I don't know about other music providers because I only use Apple Music because I'm totally bought into the Apple ecosystem. Hello.
Yeah. Same.
But I know, like, now Siri's like, oh, okay, I can see what you've been listening to. I also
Hmm.
know that you're gonna like these artists and these songs and these albums, and she cues them up, and they're things that I've never heard, and I'm like, yeah, I really did like that. Thank you, Siri. Like,
Hmm.
so it's, I don't know, it's getting a little scary, but also a little cool at the same time.
Well, it definitely beats, in my opinion, a trip to the CD store. Like when we had, what was that, Sam Goody?
Oh
And
Hmm.
gosh, yeah.
yeah, like going in there and like not knowing you couldn't hardly see. I think at one point they did have this thing where you could like scan the barcode on the CD and then like
Listen
sample the
to it.
CD to make sure if
Hmm.
you like it or not. But I definitely remember times of like, ooh, I like the cover on this one. This one's probably a great CD, and then getting home after buying it and being like, this is sucks.
Yeah.
There,
I
we
actually, oh, go
Go
ahead.
ahead. No, go ahead, Amanda.
I was gonna say, during college, I worked at Hastings. So if anybody doesn't know, Hastings was like a movie rental, bookstore, CD, like you can buy music, and like I grew up, they were like a competitor with Blockbuster as well. But I grew up going there to rent movies to watch as a kid, and then I ended up working there, and it was just crazy. Like same thing. It's like, all these CDs, and it's like, oh, this looks fun, and we had a buyback program so people could come sell their used items to us, and so
Yes.
like we could get music and DVDs super cheap. Like when Disney was like unvaulting a
Hmm.
bunch of the older
Mm.
movies and putting them on DVD, I would buy them up like crazy because I've always loved Disney, and I'm like, I need Cinderella on DVD. I was buying all the classics as they came in because people would um, legally bring in brand new releases to sell back to us and have legally 5 copies of the same movie. Um, no, they went and stole it from Target and then came and sold it at Hastings. But I don't know. It was just such a good time, and like I still have some of the DVDs. So I'm like, I just can't let them go. But I literally have no way to play them in my home. Like
Same.
I don't have a console. I don't have a disc drive. I don't have any way to play them. But I cannot let them go.
Same. I have one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. I have 9 DVDs behind my camera here. I have 9 DVDs, and I have no way to play them. Not a single DVD player or anything. And I don't know why I hold on to them because I actually have several of them already on digital, but one or two of them I don't have there is not, to my knowledge, a digital copy of it. So,
Mm.
Well, we do have a portable DVD player here that we keep for Justice, so we will let
yep.
you indulge in that. We always keep one backup for when that one dies,
Right.
so it's here. But we don't have a DVD player either. Everything's digital. It's all, like, we don't even have a cable box anymore. It's the TV's mounted on the wall, and everything it gets is through the internet. If there's,
Mm.
it's not hardwired to anything, which is so different than how it was when we were kids, right? Like, and I have
Mhm.
no idea how this quilting live stream has turned into talking about our childhoods and technology and music. So thank you for sticking it out.
I mean, the chat is hot, so clearly
Yeah.
we struck a nostalgia chord,
I
so that's okay.
definitely agree with that. Yeah, I think a lot of people are having that nostalgia hit that I definitely had recently. And Gloria says, "What about your Xbox?" I don't have an Xbox. I don't have an Xbox. I don't have a PlayStation.
Mm,
I have no disc playing capabilities whatsoever.
nope.
But when you move to the area, you can borrow
Right.
Justice's portable DVD player.
Right, exactly.
I really want to watch my DVD, Becca. Can I borrow it? Actually, we
Right.
do have one Xbox in our home, and it's upstairs in Zoe's room, and it never gets powered on. So I guess technically we have two DVD players.
Mm,
You know, somebody's mentioning in the chat something about how the portability of your music subscriptions is great because you can take it on the go, but there's something about having the physical element to the music, like the CD or whatever. And you know what
mhm.
I've always thought his would be cool is to get a record player and start collecting vinyl just for the things that I really love. I don't need every album on vinyl, but maybe like some of the things that I really enjoy would be nice.
I don't
Yeah.
I don't like
Ian's
the
like,
sound
no, you
quality.
don't need that.
I don't like the sound quality of vinyl. I know so many I'm gonna offend so many people and there's gonna be so many people yelling at me as soon as this hits the chat. But I don't, there's that debate of, digital quality versus vinyl versus CD, and I don't find vinyl any more in depth or deeper or anything else than digital. So don't hate me, everyone. I'm sorry.
I don't know. I don't know that it's a sound quality thing for me. It's a nostalgia thing. So
Yeah.
when my
Mhm.
dad and I were younger, and this went all the way up until high school, and even beyond actually, but vinyl was what we focused on. And when we were in the car or whatever, it was always a cassette tape. But there was lots of older music that we only listened to on vinyl, and so there's something about handling the vinyl, putting it on there, putting the needle on the record, and listening to it that just kind of brings back some nostalgia feelings from my childhood. It's not necessarily that it's superior quality. I haven't listened to a vinyl record in 20 years, so I couldn't even tell you. But yeah, it's more the act of having that really big stereo system, putting the LP on and playing it.
I remember
Yeah.
the McDonald's near my dad's job had an actual jukebox, and it had the records in the carousel, and you could actually punch the numbers in and it would pull the record out and play that. That is like core memory material right there.
Wait, what?
What?
Wait, I didn't understand that. You're gonna have to repeat. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's okay. It's fine. So, like, you're talking about remembering, like, the putting the vinyl onto the player and playing the record and all that. There was a McDonald's near my dad's job, and he would take me there for lunch or dinner a lot of times. And I remember this jukebox in the McDonald's. It had a plexiglass front, but holes so that way you could punch the numbers
Uh-huh.
into it. And I just remember, going over, punching in the numbers, and it had that spinning carousel of all the records in it. And it had the little arm that would pull
Mhm.
out the record and put it onto the record player and play it.
See,
That's like core memory.
when you said
Yeah.
jukebox, I automatically went to the other side of the spectrum. So my dad was all about nostalgia from his childhood, right? And so anytime we did things, I was always exposed to what he was exposed to and what he really liked. So like five and dime candy stores, loved them. We went to all of them. If we went, he liked to go to diners because that's what he remembered. He liked hot rods and muscle cars from the 50s and the 60s. So that's what I got exposed to. And when you said jukebox, my mind did not go to the 1980s, 1990s jukebox that has the thing that does the thing. It
Yeah.
went to the metal thing in the diner that has the pages spinning with the buttons that you push. That's where
Mhm.
I was like,
Oh.
what are you talking about? And so I had to be like, oh, wrong decade, Becca. Come, come forward
Yeah.
20 years.
The one I'm thinking about had the bubblers on
Yeah.
either side, so you could watch the bubbles going all the way
Yep.
up to the top. That
Yep.
like, and as a kid, I was like, "That's
Mhm.
so cool! How does it do that?"
Yeah, yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
Yep.
Of course,
Yep.
as a kid, I was really entranced with the bubblegum machine. A
Those were
quarter
cool
in.
too.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anywho, it is 9:30. We've been chatting for an hour and a half, and I am getting a little sleepy. So I think I'm going to wrap up. But before I do, I want to thank you, Ian and Amanda, for hanging out with us tonight, or hanging out with me tonight, or hanging out with each other, whatever the case may be. But I want to check in really quick. Amanda, where are you on subscribers?
Let me look.
Ian, I'm going to
I'm
ask you the
at
same question.
Yeah, I'll pull that up real
I'm
quick.
at 1,067.
Awesome!
Woo.
Awesome.
I am
Awesome.
at I'm at 14,975, so I'm getting there. Super,
Ooh.
super close. Super, super
I
close.
I saw 14.9 and I put in the chat that you were less than 10 subscribers away. I forgot that
No,
the 9 stands for 900.
yeah.
I'm
Almost
sorry.
there.
Nah.
Almost there though.
Very close. Very close.
Very,
Yeah.
very close. Yep. I hopefully by the end of the weekend I might just be at that 15,000 mark.
Wouldn't it be great if you were if you hit 15,000 on your live stream on Sunday?
That would be great. That would be
That'd be
awesome.
awesome. I'd love to
Yeah.
see that happen for you. I'd love to see
Me
that
too.
happen for you. So
Yeah.
speaking of things happening for both of you, what do people have? Where can they find you? We'll start with Amanda. Where can they find you? What should they look for from you? Do you have anything exciting coming up that you'd like the people to know about?
Okay. Well, on Instagram and on all the podcast platforms and here on YouTube, I am at Not Your Granny's Quilt Show. Um, and my business is called Sweet Pea Design Company. There are an unnervingly amount of Sweet Pea Design companies out there. You'll know mine by the purple and green colors. My face is on my website and um, pinned on my Instagram. We're at Sweet Pea Design Company. Website is sweetpeadesigncompany.com. Like I said, I'm going to be purchasing a business from my parents, or purchasing their half out, and I will be sole owner of the business of Sweet Pea Design Company. So that's coming in August when I return from my Camino. So I have 2 more episodes coming out this season. So next week is Jenny Grover. She's a wellness coach for makers. I love her dearly, and she shares some really great tips and tricks and exercises we can try to, help center ourselves on our values and speak with our authentic voice. And then my last episode of the season is Megan Gate. She is the project manager for Ruby Star Society.
Ooh.
Um,
Very cool.
yeah, we had a great time chatting. And so those are the next 2 episodes coming up. And besides that, after those, I'm on break until there won't be any more episodes until September. So get caught up if you're new. Um, there's over 100 episodes now, so you'll have plenty to do while I'm gone.
Enjoy.
And yes, please check everything out. And if you have questions, like I said before, if you message me, you get me. I'm the one responding. So you'll get me in my true answers if that's what you really want from me. So
And if there are folks out there, I know there are some content creators that watch and they're always looking for people to collab with. Are you open to collabs with other YouTubers to help get your brand
yeah,
out there? Okay.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
have them reach out to you through social media and you guys can work that out.
Hmm.
Awesome. And then
Yeah.
Ian, what about you? What do we got coming up in your lane?
So on Sunday, I had to remember what day I go live because I've been bouncing around so much lately. So Sunday, I'll be going live 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. And this week, I got Margot the Boxer back from my quilter. And it is now time to get it show ready because it has a show to go into on the 17th of July. I almost said January. Wrong date. So I have a lot going on trying to get it ready, and so I need to spend some time making a quilt hanging sleeve for it. So Sunday we're going to work on creating a hanging sleeve from a pattern from cotton and bourbon. And then I need to pack. That's what needs to happen. Yes, I need to do a whole bunch of packing, but we'll have a good time on Sunday. And also for the next couple of weeks, hopefully we'll also try and wrap up Gravity and get that quilt top sewn and done.
There you go. There you good.
There you
Whatever.
go. There you
Can't talk. Like, this is evidence that it's time for me to go. Amanda, you said 9 p.m. is your bedtime. I'm right there with you. I'm like, it's 9:41 here, and I'm ready to go upstairs and crawl under the covers and just go to sleep. So I'm actually a night owl, but my husband has trained me to be whatever. We don't need to go down this path. I will literally keep talking if I don't shut myself up. So thank you so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful trip in Spain, and I hope you come back to 25 million subscribers. Good luck on all of the podcast episodes that you have, and I can't wait to meet you at QuiltCon.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. This has been so fun, and thank you so much to everybody who subscribed and is new and got me to that goal. And I can't wait for us to meet in person and party.
That's gonna be great. Yep. We'll definitely carve out some time to hang out. Mine won't do it, so y'all can do it. Wait, what's the new one they do? There's the
I can't
new
do
one.
that one. I
I
can't.
can't.
either.
I can't either. I don't even know.
Korean-
All right,
Korean
we're just
people.
ripping the Band-Aid. Bye, everyone. See you later.
Bye.